Hey there, welcome back to Wild Bird Farm. I'm Tara, I garden here in Zone 5. Today we're going to talk about my secret garden space and the 3 annual plants that grow so well that are helping me fill the gaps in my new landscape. I am just so excited about all the things we're going to talk about today. If you've been around here for a little while, you know that this space in our yard has taken a while to get going. We had a dead tree we had to take down, and then just filling it in with mature shrubs and bushes can get pretty costly. So I found 3 annual plants that grow quickly, that look beautiful from spring all the way through the first frost, that are helping me fill these gaps in my landscape. I have also added 2 things from King's Yard that have just added so much entertainment to this space. One is a hummingbird feeder and one is a bird feeder. And I haven't caught as many birds on film, but I know that once a lot of this greenery dies back in the winter months, I think having that bird feeder is really going to be valuable in keeping those birds close to home. As you know, I have a small flower farm, and bringing in the beneficials, hummingbirds, and bringing in the birds to keep the garden pests at bay is really helpful. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about those and to talk about the 3 annual plants that I just fell in love with. All right, I am going to save the best for last, but we're going to start out with something definitely worth talking about, and that is Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. Now this is an annual. It is a tender annual, so once we have our first fall frost, this is going to die back. It's not going to live through the winter. It is grown mostly for this beautiful mahogany or maroon colored foliage. It really starts to shine here in late August through October when we have our first frost. I have grown this in the past, and I've usually grown it for use in my cut flower bouquets. In past years, this has got 4 to 5 feet wide and tall. Quite a bit taller than what those in my landscape did this year. I think the conditions with it being so rainy here probably didn't help with its growth. But this is over 2 feet wide and probably 3 feet tall, and this is the smallest one that I have. So still pretty happy with it. It looks really good with yellow and orange marigolds as we move into late summer and fall. Again, this works double duty, so I could come out and cut some of these mature stems and use them in cut flower bouquets. Really easy to start from seed. Like I said, it grows really well, and I love using it in my landscape as well as having some out in my cut flower area for those bouquets. You can get your seed in several places. I have bought it from Johnny's and from GeoSeed before. I'm sure other places have it. It's pretty readily available. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think the bang for your buck that you get with each seed is worth it. Here is another plant I have. I think it looks really good with the purple verbena. In the late afternoon, this area just sort of glows and sparkles. Now there is quite a bit of weed here. I've been working my way down this new area. My daughter brought over some mulch, and I haven't gotten to this end yet. But it just seems to glow in the sunlight, and I just think it's beautiful. It contrasts really well with blue-green foliage as well as like a true green that you can see here. The plant that I put over here, I think because it's had more protection throughout the summer, you can see it's more green than maroon, but it is taller. I would say that one's at least 4 feet. The next fast-growing annual, great to fill in holes in your landscape, is the annual grass called Savannah Grass. Now I would say each of these clumps are at least 2 feet wide and maybe about 16 to 18 inches tall. I planted a whole row of this out in my cut flowers last year, and I used the plumes in cut flower bouquets, which work quite well. I'll get you off the tripod here so you can get a close-up look. But these dance above the plants, and they just add some great texture and color in this late season when sometimes our garden is waning a little bit. I think I have 3 or 4 clumps here, so let's take a closer look. So there is one nice clump swaying in the wind, and you can tell that they change a little bit of their texture as they get older. So this is a newer, well, this is kind of a middle one. Let's see. Okay, so this plume is new, and then it'll get a little bit deeper color, and then it'll really start to puff out. And then as it starts to fade, it kind of loses its color like this. So I definitely could probably come out and trim off some of these that are looking a little bit spent. But they definitely stay upright and they still look pretty good. Now I added these on the south side, and I've noticed the more sun they've gotten, the better they're looking. I mean, that's a pretty good sized plant. That could really fill in some holes. There is one back here that hasn't put up any plumes yet. I think maybe because it's a little bit more crowded. I would say it gets similar sun over here. But then these down here are looking really good. I have one here and then 2 more here. And you can see again, that one's a little crowded and has less plumes. But these look great. I put these over here because I have some mauve hardy mums that come back. And then I put in more of that color this year. I tried to go with kind of a pink and a white theme, and I wanted to carry that on through the fall. So again, these are gonna look great right up until that first hard frost, and then they will die back. But again, these are easy to start from seed, very, very economical. I get my seeds, I bought them twice now. I think this is my 3rd year growing this. I've gotten my seeds from Baker's Creek, and I think that's really the only place I've seen the seeds. But I think they're just gorgeous. They add a really nice texture to your landscape. They would fill in a good 18-inch to 2-foot gap. And I love them. I just think they're beautiful. The 3rd annual that I started from seed this year that I'm absolutely loving is this Boxwood Basil. I had not heard of this until last year. I heard it from Linda Vodder on her YouTube channel. She sprinkles these throughout her garden. Of course, you know she has a lot of actual boxwood in her garden. I haven't had the best luck with boxwood. I have one up by our white shed, and I bought a very small, I don't know if it was even a quart-sized pot this year. So I have one actual boxwood here. But look how similar they are. You know, picture this being more of a rounded form as it matures a little bit. These boxwood basils work very, very similar to that. Let's get a really close look at these. I need to apologize that the sun is so harsh. I meant to get out here earlier and I didn't get it done. So this is a Weigela here. Of course, I have some weeding I have to do. I haven't gotten over here yet. But this was an area that grass didn't grow very well. So we decided to cardboard mulch it, put down cardboard and then wood chip mulch. Added a few steps. So this is just my path to get out to the secret garden. But then I had some extra boxwood. I'll show you where I put the others here in a minute. I had already put this boxwood in here, and I had these basil starts, and I thought, let's just line this and see how it does. Now I did have a 3rd one here that didn't make it. I think a rabbit ate it. But these are looking so good, and it's worth noting that I started these really late in the season. Like I think I started these probably in late June, and I could have had them out here for sure by mid-May, if not early May. Of course, they won't handle a frost. They're like any other basil. They smell like basil that you're used to growing. They're very aromatic. You can use this for cooking. You can use this for culinary purposes. And it's also, since it has the same basil scent, it's great to deter pests. You can see that this one is starting to put up little plumes. I went in and pinched this back when it was much smaller, but since then I haven't done anything because I really wanted to see the shape that it would get. And it's a very tight mounding habit that I really like. And I hope that boxwood catches up because right now the basil looks way better. But this is just kind of a fun little space. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here permanently, but this is a great plant to use in a situation like this where maybe you start a new bed, you don't really have the funds to completely plant it up with perennials. So you can start this basil very easily indoors and then plant it out, and it's going to get to a nice size just in that one growing season. This is the other area where I actually originally started these basil seeds for. This area up by our deck, I had completely filled with lavender for a few years, and it all died off last winter. We had a really rough winter for lavender. So I put some petunias and other heat-loving annuals in here, but I wanted to fill in the gaps. And so I planted some of the boxwood basil. Now, because it's gotten a little bit crowded here in late summer, these aren't the perfect spheres that we looked at before, but it really fills in the space. And I don't know that I really needed to plant these as close together as I did. And I'll take that into consideration for next year, but you can see they are dotted all the way along here. So another good option to mix in, if your perennial areas are all established, you could mix these in with some warm season annuals and they look really nice as well. Thanks for joining me today. I'll put a link to King's Yard here. They sell on Amazon, so if you're interested in any of their products and if you would like to join me in feeding the birds this winter, you can grab your feeder there. And please leave me some feedback. Do you have a fast-growing annual that you really enjoy? Leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.